Karibuni WanaUbuntu wenzangu. Welcome my fellow children of Ubuntu, Africans, Black people. This is Kumbukeni's Methali ya Siku, Proverb of the Day, our new series which will be available starting on Monday only on our Patreon account. So go ahead and join that space, pick a tier that suits you, and we can continue the journey in learning KiUbuntu and learning these proverbs. So today is day 4, Siku ya nne. Siku ya nne. And our proverb today is dalili ya mvua ni mawingu. Dalili ya mvua ni mawingu. Dalili ya mvua ni mawingu. The sign of rain is clouds. The sign of rain is clouds. So what does this mean? Maana yake. Dalili yaani kiashirio ya kuonyesha kuwa itanyesha mvua ni kuyaona mawingu ya mvua angani. Dalili ya kupata ulilokusudia kwanza ni kuiona ishara ya kukuonyesha kuwa hicho kitu kipo tayari kukufikia. The translation, the sign that is the indicator that it will rain is seeing rain clouds in the sky. The sign of getting what you anticipated is to first see an indication that the thing is about to get to you. It simply means that before rain falls, one must first see the clouds. Clouds serve as the visible indicator that rain is near. Matumizi, how do we use this proverb? Hutumiwa methali hii kwa maana ya kuwa jambo likitaka kuwa huwepo ishara, yani dalili. Kwanza inayoonyesha kuwa jambo hilo litatokea. Watu husema methali hii wanapoiona dalili kama hiyo. What does that mean? This proverb is used to mean that if something is meant to happen, there must first be an indicator, a sign, that shows it will happen. People say this proverb when they see such a sign. So for example, let me see what I can use. I start seeing traffic piling up, right? I start seeing, I don't know, a police officer coming to control traffic. I might say, dalili ya mawingu dalili ya mvua ni mawingu, because maybe I'm with someone in the car and they're saying it looks like there's gonna be traffic, and then instead of stating, like, it's almost like you're stating the obvious because we're already seeing the sign, right? So, but because we are polite people, WanaUbuntu are polite people, we say dalili ya mvua ni mawingu. So to state the obvious, the sign of traffic is these clouds that we're seeing. Therefore, the police officer, traffic is starting to back up and all that. At a deeper level, the proverb emphasizes that before any major event or transformation, there are always indicators, warnings, or signs that announce what is coming. It teaches us vigilance, patience, and the wisdom of observation. For WanaUbuntu, Africans, Black people, it is a reminder that history and nature gives us signals. We must recognize them, interpret them correctly, and prepare ourselves for the changes they foreshadow. So, as always on Kumbukeni, we take the lessons we learn, we juxtapose them to our contemporary times, and we see how they relate to them. How does this proverb relate to signs of liberation, right? The signs, we're talking about signs. Throughout history, WanaUbuntu have shown signs of freedom before it fully arrived. Quiet acts of rebellion during enslavement, the preservation of culture under colonial rule, and the return to ancestral spirituality were the mawingu, the clouds, that foretold the storm of resistance. Today, the growing rejection of foreign control over nsi ya Ubuntu's resources, grassroots land reclamation, and community self-sufficiency are the clouds that show renewal is near. How does this show up? How does this proverb apply to education and knowledge? The insistence on an Afrocentric education system for WanaUbuntu is itself a dalili. There are people who've been writing for a while now about Afrocentric education. I mentioned Mwalimu Asante has written about this, right? He's one of the people to come up with the term Afrocentric. So they've been working on this, and now it's becoming more popular. People like me are pushing for it. People like myself are insisting we have to change the education system if we're going to reclaim ourselves. So these are the signs. These are the dalili. Every child taught the truth of their history, every family that values their own languages, and every community that rejects Eurocentric lies adds to the sky of clouds, signaling an intellectual and cultural downpour. And finally, we have the downpour, right? How does this apply to the economic and cultural revival of WanaUbuntu? Everything we do is grounded on us. Everything we do is from our perspective. Everything we do is about, right here on Kumbukeni, our well-being as WanaUbuntu, Africans, Black people. That means globally. Whether you were born in Africa or not, as long as you're grounded in the well-being of African people. And I do not mean Wazungu. I do not mean foreigners. I do not mean people who came into our continent through invasion and their descendants. I do not mean those people. I mean people who are always on that land. How does it show up economically and culturally? When WanaUbuntu revive organic farming, our farming that we used to practice back then, manufacture for themselves, build cooperative systems, and rely on ancestral knowledge, these actions are the clouds that precede the return of abundance to KiUbuntu. You've been seeing us pushing on Kumbukeni with my brother Oladele during our bi-weekly or every other week collaboration sessions on the Imaginal Cable, and you've seen us push for these things. The guests that we're bringing on, talking about organic farming, talking about we must manufacture ourselves. These are the clouds that are starting to build up, and the rain is going to pour. The rain of our liberation is going to pour soon. Unity in action. How is this proverb applied to our unison, right? Not symbolism, not symbolic unity, but unity in action. The real signs are not in empty conferences or speeches. Enough with the conferences. Let's keep having them to stay in touch with each other, to see each other, to eat with each other, to celebrate with each other. But let's not pretend that they are going to bring us our liberation. The only way they're going to bring us our liberation is that we gather to continue building the strategies and all that. But by themselves, they will not. But in daily lived solidarity, I will repeat that sentence so that it can make sense. The real signs are not in empty conferences or speeches, but in daily lived solidarity. WanaUbuntu feeding one another, teaching each other, defending their land, and building collective dignity. These are the clouds that tell us a storm of sovereignty is coming. So how can we use this proverb today? Like just a summary. Signs of transformation exist in everyday struggles and victory. We have to look out for them. We have to look out for them so that they can give us hope, because this work can be draining as far as hope. Grassroots actions, not elite performances. No, we must make a difference between WanaUbuntu, and actually I don't call them WanaUbuntu, Africans who make it seem like they are revolutionary, but they are fake revolutionaries is what I call them. They're taking us nowhere. They're going to keep us in the cycle of exploitation. Grassroots action, not elite performances, are the real clouds of liberation. KiUbuntu's renewal is inevitable. It is inevitable. When WanaUbuntu reclaim land, culture, and self-determination. In short, dalili ya mvua ni mawingu reminds WanaUbuntu that before great change, there are always signs. Today, the clouds are visible. Community farming, Afrocentric education, cultural revival, and unity in action. These clouds show that the reign of sovereignty and dignity is near for KiUbuntu. So, once again, we're going to be having lessons. This is one of the signs of our liberation nearing. We're starting to teach and share this language. We're doing it more, right? There's a time back in the 60s that it was being taught, but we forgot. And now we have to come back to it. And this time we must keep this consistent, teaching our fellow Africans on the continent, WanaUbuntu, outside the continent, our language of unity, so that we can unify by it. We can have one language that is ours, not a foreign language, not English, not Portuguese, not French, not Arabic, nothing, not Mandarin. It must be an African grounded language. And this one was created by the Bantu nations in East Africa. And we're going to spread it to the rest of the continent. And you'll see how we're doing that. You'll see tomorrow's, actually Sunday's Methali ya Siku. You'll see something in there that will show you how myself and others are bringing in the other African languages that were never represented outside of Bantu nations in this language of our unity. So we'll have weekly lessons, live practice, writing, and community engagement. Like I said before, the full Methali ya Siku videos will only be accessible to all tiers on our Patreon profile starting on Monday, November 3rd. The tiers range from $9 a month to $50 a month. You'll have a chance to be with community, practice your culture, reclaim your culture, be in conversation with like-minded people. So join now on Patreon. The link is patreon.com/Kumbukeni. That's patreon.com/Kumbukeni. Patreon.com/KiUbuntu. Asanteni sana kwa kuwa nasi. We thank you all for your support. Thank you very much. Kila, heri. Peace.